All right, we're now carrying on with our end pieces. So just as a reminder of where we left them, they're currently sitting at 334 millimeters in length, 95 millimeters in width, with a thickness of 16 millimeters. And what we're now gonna do is we are going to cut up a few strips of double-sided tape. You don't need much. This stuff goes a long way, it's very sticky. You're gonna place it on one of your end pieces. Then you're going to peel the plastic backing off that so that the sticky side is revealed. And then you're gonna place your other end piece exactly on top of that. What this is gonna allow us to do is everything we do to our one piece, we're going to in turn do to our other. So we'll have two identical pieces by the time we remove them. All right, now that we have our two end pieces taped together, the next thing we're gonna do, it might be useful to label the bottom of your board. I've wrote bottom on mine. The reason I've done that is just because I know I'm going to be cutting the corners out of this board and I have a slight crack here. So I figured I'd put that in the top right corner so I can get rid of that and I don't have to worry about it. But the first step we're gonna do is we're gonna use a combination square. And what we want to do is we wanna find a center line on our board. So how we're gonna do that is we know that the length is 334 millimeters. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna set our combination square to 167 millimeters, which should be half. And once we have this set to 167 millimeters, we are going to scribe a line along our board so that we can find our center line. Next, we will be laying out a line that is 65 millimeters from the bottom so that we can locate our holes for our handle. So we are gonna take our combination square and get that to 65 millimeters. And the handle is gonna be around in this area. So we only have to worry about scribing a line close to our center line. And that should do it. And now that we have our center line and our line that is 65 millimeters from the bottom, we are going to now mark our positions on this line where we're gonna drill our two holes. So they're gonna be 20 offset from the center line, 25 millimeters on each side. So we can use our combination square and push it out until it gets to 25 millimeters. When the 25 millimeters is at the center line mark, and then we can lock that into position, butt it up against each side, and make a mark. Where it meets the line. And now we have two positions for our holes to drill. So the next step is gonna be use an awl to push and make indents where we're going to then use a Forstner bit and drill holes. We now have our center line, our line that is 65 millimeters from the bottom, and our two offset marks, 25 millimeters from each side, where we're going to, in the future, drill our two holes. Next, we are going to scribe a line that is 45 millimeters from the bottom that spans the whole length of our board. So again, we can just set our combination square to 45 millimeters. And lock in the dial so it's nice and firm. Make a mark here. Make a mark here. And I will actually use a steel ruler to draw a parallel line from each mark. Our board now has a center line, a line that is 65 millimeters from the bottom, 2 marks on that line that are both 25 millimeters from each side of the center line. These are going to be the holes that we're going to drill in the future. And a line that is 45 millimeters from the bottom of the board. The next step is to grab an awl to put a center punch mark on each of those marks where we'll drill in the future. So all we do is line up our board, line up the awl with our mark, get it exactly in the crosshairs, and then give it a good smack. And alder is pretty soft, so you don't have to push too hard, but you want to just make sure you're nice and centered. And now we have 2 perfect center punch marks to drill in the future. Next, we're going to be using a set of dividers to draw a circle around each one of these holes that is the exact radius from the hole to the top of the board. So to set that, all you have to do is find the top of the board, and now you know that it's that exact height, and you're just going to scribe a circle all the way around, and then do that in this hole here. Next step, now that we have our 2 circles drawn, is you're going to use those same dividers and you're going to open them up further to whatever your desired circle radius is. And you're going to find a mark on your board that it touches just the inside of this circle and the bottom of the line. So you might need to play around with the size of the dividers. So if I wanted to do it so that it just was at the top of my board, this would be the right size here, and then I would just have to move it in so that it just crosses this circle here. So if I were to look at that, it's going to just touch the top of this line, and it's going to just touch this circle. So I'm going to go with that. Draw that line, and all this is doing is giving us a nice curve for our handle to follow. So we're going to end up coming through this line, going up this curve, around this corner, and continue on to the other side. So without changing the setting of your dividers, you're going to go and draw the same circle on the other side. So you're going to find the point that it just touches this circle, and it just touches the top of the line here. So we now have a line that can travel. Our cut line will end up being this line here, up this corner, around the top of our board, back down, and out the other side. So just so that we don't accidentally cut off the wrong piece, I'm just going to mark these corners with an X so that we remember this is what we want to cut off. Now your board is completely marked. This is our finished step for the drawing on the board. The next step is going to be going to the drill press and drilling the 2 holes for the handle.